Brody and Shannon, you've managed to get early hands-on with the console and play a couple of games that were, well, one game we're excited for, the other remains to be seen. But let's start with Mario Kart World. You both have spent a bit of time with the game now. I'm eager to get your impressions of it thus far. Brody, let's start with you. You kind of got to spend more time with it more recently. How is the game shaping up in your mind?
Yeah, I'll come at it with the context that I haven't really got deep into a Mario Kart game since like maybe Double Dash back on the GameCube. So I've missed the whole Wii U and pretty much Switch era of, I guess, Mario Kart 8. But yeah, like it's a lot of fun. Like it's still the best kart racer on the market. All the cool things they add into the gameplay, I feel like, while not as, I guess, exciting as like the gravity flipping stuff in 8, like with the grinding and wall riding and stuff, it still adds enough dynamicism, if you like, to the to the gameplay. But obviously the big selling point, I suppose, for this one is the open world. And I don't know about you guys, but like when it was revealed, like I guess I had some concerns that the open world might be a bit sparse and there wasn't really much to do there, because it did look kind of bland from some of the trailers. But I did find that I had a lot of fun roaming around. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff to like tuck into there. There's like mini games you stumble across, more like emergent like gameplay opportunities, like whether you find, like Shannon was referring to some footage that we had earlier of like a charge and chuck that I was chasing around for ages trying to hit him with a green shell. Plenty of collectibles to find and like hidden little routes to get to them. Yeah, and obviously just being able to pop around the map freely, like you can zoom out to the free roam map and basically take over for any other character that's just driving around on that map, so you can sort of zip around pretty quickly in that sense. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to get more into that open world and yeah, take care of all these missions that we're looking at here. That's obviously this is not going to be in sync with anything that we're actually showing, so I shouldn't refer to the footage we're watching. But yeah, like the open. Well, you're gonna have to work hard to sync that up. But yeah, the open world stuff is cool. Like the missions that they put out there, like they're often like based on like, you know, how quickly you can get from A to B and stuff. So they were pretty much the crux of what I saw. Like, it's usually just trying to avoid obstacles while getting to a point. So whether they're enormously varied beyond that, I guess will remain to be seen. But yeah, and then obviously the other facet of Mario Kart that's always been, I guess, its bread and butter is like the competitive multiplayer, and that again is just, you know, just chaotic, absolutely fun. Like, and obviously the increased player size here, like it's up to 24 players. It just makes it all the more hectic riding around, and you know, you go from first to last in a matter of seconds. That happened to me so much. Yeah, so the I guess the big new mode that they're sort of spruiking is the Knockout Tour, which is basically, if you've played Burnout, it's the Eliminator race, effectively. So it's, rather than going like lapped races, it's a point-to-point sprint where you go through like multiple checkpoints and biomes and stuff. And as you get through each checkpoint gate, it'll eliminate a certain amount of people. Again, like, it's one of those things where, like, if you're last, you'll be back in the race in no time, because the game just does such a good job of like throwing things you need at you to get you back into it. Because I remember, like, there was one point where I thought I got eliminated, but I didn't actually go through a checkpoint, so I hadn't been eliminated yet, and I put the controller down, and about 10 seconds later the guy was like, "Hey, you're still in." And I was like, "Oh shit." So I like took off again, and then it just gave me like mushroom after mushroom after mushroom, and suddenly like I was back in like 8th or something and made it through. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's very hectic. It's very unpredictable and frustrating in all the ways that Mario Kart can be. Obviously, like I said, you can be cruising in first for like 20 seconds, and then suddenly you get struck by lightning, and then you get flattened by a bullet bill and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, still a lot of fun. I can see that being like a big draw for online play. And then just the battle modes themselves and the versus modes, still very fun. Like balloon battle and coin runners is a lot of fun. I think there are some new items that I think are a little OP for things like balloon battle, like the new boomerang and stuff like that. It's like you literally can just spam it at enemies and like pop their balloons like that. So I think there'll probably be a little balancing to be done with that. But all in all, like, I think it's a very fun, very joyous package that they're putting together here, like from the single player stuff that you can do to the multiplayer stuff. And yeah, I'm keen to get my hands on it further and yeah, get into the open world more.
there's a couple of things there I kind of want to dig into a little bit deeper. Firstly, circling back to the open world element of it. I mean, you mentioned a couple of games in the process that kind of speak to me. Do you think it's like fair to compare it to something like, I don't know, Burnout Paradise or Forza kind of Horizon games? Or is it maybe like a bit more Lego 2K Drive, more that kind of style of thing?
I haven't played Lego 2K Drive, so I can't draw that comparison, but it's definitely less self-serious than something like Burnout or Forza. Like, as while they're arcadey, they're definitely still more grounded than what this is. So without having
in terms of like the kind of like population of the world though, with things to do, like the kind of like the shortcuts and the billboards and all of that were in Burnout Paradise, like kind of looked like there were elements of that to this, right?
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely elements of it. From what I experienced, I'd say it's probably slightly less dense than something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I think it probably puts the emergent fun at the forefront more than it does, just like a collectathon. Granted, that sort of stuff is there. Like I said, there's shortcuts I found and like little secret nooks I found. Like, I drove behind a waterfall, found myself up on a roof and collected some little peach token that unlocked something. I wasn't really diving into what I was getting, but and even just driving around and like unlocking new costumes and stuff like that, which you can get like through the drive-throughs where you collect like the food bag and eat like a chili dog, and then suddenly you're like a cool Mario with his hat backwards and stuff like that. Like, all that sort of stuff is just going to be fun, just to cruise around and try and find. And
if I'm not mistaken as well, you got to kind of give the social elements and the multiplayer races a bit of a go too. How was the integration of those? Like, we've kind of seen it demoed alongside the announcement of the Switch 2. Do you think it's a kind of compelling enough feature?
By that, do you mean like the camera?
Yeah, like the camera and the kind of game chat functionality.
Yeah, so obviously being all in one room together, we didn't really get to do the game chat. Like, they didn't feel like in the setup that we had that would be very conducive to showing it off properly, but we definitely got to play with the camera. And look, I think there was a fun novelty to it. Like I've said all along, I don't really know what the application for the camera would be beyond games like this, unless you're like attempting to stream or something like that. But for it to be actually like applied within the game, like it is here, like you zoom past someone and your like face is like hovering above your car and you're like sticking your tongue out at them, making light of the situation. Like, it's,
I can see Shannon doing that.
He'll like zip past you and start singing Dua Lipa or something like that. So like, I think there's a lot of novelty and a lot of just fun that comes with that. I don't know if it's something that I'll necessarily like use all the time, but I guess in like party situations, like I can see it being cool for like Mario Party and stuff like that. But it was definitely the source of a few laughs. I'll put it that way.
Shannon, what about you and your kind of experience with the game so far? Do you all kind of pretty much agree with Brody and his assessment?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I've got to play it earlier, so I didn't get to do like the free roam mission stuff or like any of the camera stuff. But I played like quite a bit of Knockout Tour, quite a bit of the GPs, and like had a taste of free roam. And then obviously watching all of Brody's footage, I feel like I understand it, and I'm very keen for it. It's clear that this is like hugely improved from the last one, and just very different to anything we've seen in Mario Kart before, and like the total package.
Maybe you could kind of speak to the presentation of the game a little bit. Like, does it kind of live up to, I guess, like the promise of being this first like proper 4K high resolution Mario Kart game?
Yeah, 100%. I think the 4K-ness of it makes a big difference, because obviously that just makes everything look like crisper, but there's just so much more detail in the world as well. Like all the characters, the lighting, the physics, like no two hits are the same in terms of getting hit animation wise. So it's cool. 100%. It's a big improvement, and just you can see why it wouldn't have been possible on the OG Switch. It's not like Forza Horizon, like in terms of realism or whatever, but we knew that wasn't going to be what anything Nintendo are doing is, right? So like, I think for what it is, it's just what we wanted from the Switch, like 4K, running solidly, and I guess feeling like they're not restricted in terms of their art, which we knew would shine in 4K.
Brody, did you get to play it were you just on the TV or handheld or combination of the two?
Yeah, no, I played on TV pretty much the entire time with Mario Kart, using a Pro controller, so...
Yeah, and when you were in like split screen and stuff as well, like, did you split screen it at some point?
Yeah, so when we did like all the Versus games, which I did with Luke from Checkpoint.
It didn't chug or anything like that?
No,
was where I was
definitely not. No, we were
No.
sat next to each other on the same screen, and no, it ran perfectly fine. Like I didn't notice any hitches at all, honestly.
Yeah, nice. What do you make of it, James? Having heard the thoughts of these two, having seen some of the gameplay footage, are you excited to like boot this one up kind of day one on your Switch, or are there other games you're kind of more eager to play, do you think?
I don't love Mario Kart. I never have. So like it doesn't change my mind per se. The open stuff is kind of cool, and I think like maybe just when you don't really have anything else to play, like even just running around the free room with your friends online would be pretty cool. I can see that happening a few times. Yeah. I
think
actually,
if it weren't for the free roam thing, I would like, it would just be a party game for me. It's like, cool, I've got friends over, let me show off the new Switch 2 and kind of play a Mario Kart together. But with the free roam thing, kind of makes me more interested to like delve into it as like a solo player and kind of progress through.
Are all the courses now, like, so but back in the day, right, it was like 3 laps of the same course. It's not like that anymore, is it? Like, I feel like all of the races are, each lap is actually different. Is that right? Correct in assuming that?
Yeah, go on, Shannon, sorry.
Brody has played more than me, but everything I played, like, they were all unique. I'm assuming that, like, maybe some of the retro, like, older courses might be the same. Brody might speak to that. But
I think it's definitely... I think from what I recall, and you've kind of tripped me up here because I'm trying to actually recollect, but I think it's a mix of both. Like, I definitely think there's lapped races where you do the same laps. Like, but I think the GPs, like, they're, like, one course that runs into another. Because, like, I remembered, like, the only race where you actually have to start from the grid is the first one. And then, like, the second, third, and fourth races, you're already at, like, a running start, and you can kick your boost in from there. So, I definitely get the impression that there is, like, instances where the races will, like, flow into the other. Which is obviously all
I thought they were, like,
through the open
kind
world
of like
as
a tour to the next city, right?
That's right.
Like, it kind of progresses from one
So just,
location
like,
to
on
another.
that-
But I figured there were kind of circuit tracks in each of those locations.
How does it work
as well.
in between then? So are you saying that if you say finish the first race at an advantage and then you move on to the next one, are you still starting at an advantage?
I think you'll start at the front of the grid, but you won't be, like, as far in front as you were, for example.
Yeah.
I think what Ewan said is right. I think they are general circuit races, but then when you finish, like, you'll be at a running start because the end of the first one will be the start of the next one, if that makes sense.
so, yeah, how it, like, if you think of it as a map, like, and then if you think of, like, it's hard because the GPs, I think, are set, but if you think of everything else, like, you can just have different paths. So, like, there's different maps that run throughout, and then there's bits in between the actual maps on the map, the courses on the map are like...
and for argument's sake, the knockout tour will, like, be like a straight run of all 4 of those. All 4 of those tracks, like, back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I mean, it must be a combination of both. But
I guess that's why they've done free roam, right? Because they had to create the whole world for that to work. Because it's not just the courses, like, it's all the little bits in between the courses, which are different depending on what course you're going from and to.
It is very cleverly designed. Yeah, it's very cleverly designed, and I do like how, like, they've brought some of the. While I don't have an affinity for them, like, they've brought, like, classic maps up to be, I guess, up to speed with how they've designed the world and with, like, the new mechanics, like the rail grinding and the wall jumping and stuff like that. So, which I know they had done with 8 and the magnet stuff, but it's definitely still cool here. The novelty is there.
How was, like, the wall riding and grinding and stuff? Did that
surprisingly tricky? Yeah, surprisingly tricky.
Okay.
So you're obviously, I don't know if you could in 8 because, again, I didn't play it, but, like, you can, like, power up a jump basically. But so you hold down, like, one of the triggers. I think it's the drift trigger, but you hold it while you're going straight, and it basically charges up a jump. But you need to sort of be veering across and then, like, let go of the jump as you're drifting sideways to, like, barrel roll onto the rail and then grind from there. I don't know what advantage it necessarily gave you in a race, but it's a good, I guess, resource to like, get around certain obstacles, I suppose, or take shortcuts and stuff. So, and there's, like, higher up rails and stuff that you can jump to as well using, like, the feather power up that's new. So I expect there's going to be, like, so many, like, cool shortcuts that people find in these tracks that will obviously give the better players an edge. So definitely cool
the people
stuff
that kind of set the world record times and these really push its limits.
People who get sweaty with it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm certainly very excited for it. This is, at this stage, still the only game I'm getting on my Switch 2 at launch. So yeah, excited to delve into it and experience that free world. And
did you just
play
go
some
with
co-op.
the Switch 2, Brody, generally as the
Oh,
only
yeah.
other person to have played it? How did you like it? What stood out?
Yeah, look, honestly, it basically felt like a Switch, but better. Like, obviously, because, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
being better tech, like, obviously, the noticeable difference in, like, how the games are running better, that's obviously one thing. But in terms of, like, the form and how it feels, like, it was very similar. Like, obviously, in particular with Mario Kart, I probably can't speak to how it felt in the hand because I was playing it with, like, the Pro Controller and stuff. But maybe we can touch on more of the technical differences when we get to the other game that we played. So
Did you do any of the mouse control stuff in like Welcome to or anything, or did you not really have?
I did, yes.